All right, so this video is going to walk through the steps of basically being able to use Android Studio to connect to your control hub in order to write code in like a actually much better coding environment than just trying to type using on-bot Java. I think this would just be a much better option for all of us. So we'll be getting Android Studio, and then while we're doing Android Studio, we might as well also do GitHub, which allows us to kind of store our files to a cloud where we can access. Well, we can both see other people's work. I can see your work and kind of check in on how you're doing. And then, yeah, also being able to use resources that are already made. So that's ultimately what we're going to try and do here. I'm going to go through and let me just close this one out. I'm going to get a new window open. And, oh yeah, and so as we do this, like I also have all these notes in this document, which hopefully kind of where you're seeing this video. It's going to walk you through the same exact steps. So follow one or the other. I think this will provide more detail in the video, but ultimately if you can follow through this, it's going to be okay as well. So let's see, we are going to, first things, we're going to go to GitHub. And we are going to sign up for an account. So you can sign up, you can use if you already have an account, you're welcome to use your own personal GitHub account if you want. You're also welcome to sign up for a new one using your GAN email or any other email that you choose. But you will need to have a GitHub account for this to work. And also, once you sign up, it's going to send you a verification email, so you have to verify your address before you can actually go ahead and do any of the rest of these steps. So that's why these first things are important. Make sure that you also remember your password. Have some way of remembering because you are going to use it to log in just a minute. So let's see, we're going to do this. Let me log into my account. All right, so I'm in my account now. Yeah, so it's kind of like, GitHub is kind of like Google Drive or OneDrive or whatever Microsoft uses, but just solely devoted for coding. And there's a lot of functionality here. We're not going to use like every bit of functionality. Like this can be really good for working in groups and working on individual parts of a project. That's not really what our use cases for it. Our use is really just about saving our work, having it accessible to others, and that's really about it, making sure that we can, if we make a mistake, we can always go back to something that was working previously. Yeah, and being able to use Android Studio a little bit better. Anyways, okay, so going into this, we need to import a repository to begin with. So when we log in, you should see a screen that maybe looks like this. Might look different because I have this one repo now, but we're going to do import repository. We're going to go in here. We're going to take this from this is from the first people, so we can take them, the first tech people, and yeah, we can import this code into our thing. So this is our name, and then we can just call it whatever you want. I think I already have something called robotics, so I'm just going to say robot. I'm going to make it private. I think ultimately it doesn't matter whether it's private or public. When we set it as private, we'll probably have to do some share settings a little bit later so that I can view your work. But for right now, I think that's okay. We'll set it as private, and we'll begin import. And this is going to take a little while. We are going to, because it's transferring files from one repository to our repository, it's going to take a little bit of time to get that configured on their side. So while that's kind of running in the background, you can see like there's no need to keep this window open. They're going to email you when the import's done. Great. We won't worry about that. We'll come back to that in a minute. And we'll kind of just keep working our way down the list. So while this thing is cloning, while we are copying the other repository to add to ours, we're going to go through and install GitHub Desktop. So if you open this up, download your version for either Windows or for Mac, and then we're going to open it up. Let's see what we are going to do. Yeah, I mean, so there are multiple, I'll just say this right now, like there are multiple ways of using GitHub. I'm going to use the most easily accessible version. If you choose to do something that's command line based, which is more advanced, like you're welcome to, but like I'm going to support people who are doing GitHub Desktop, and I'm not going to worry about troubleshooting people who are kind of taking a harder and more advanced route. If you can do it, if you want to do that way, feel free. Just you have to kind of troubleshoot for yourself as much as possible. So in here, GitHub Desktop, we're going to try and log in. And we are going to put in so in here, we're just going to put in our name and our email address. And let's see here. All right, yes, we should be able to go into here and sign in through GitHub. Should pop this thing up. We're going to use our account, authorize this, open up GitHub. And then we should be able to, I think we can set up, I think this is just the kind of email system through GitHub. And this is important because this is what when you make commits, when you like make posts or make additions or like any kind of notes onto your GitHub, this is the kind of name that's going to show up on there. So it's important that it kind of matches to you. For this one, and so then, yeah, we need to go in here and then we're going to clone repository from the internet because basically what we have is we have our data all stored on the cloud. We already have, and what we're going to have on the cloud is like basically a set of templates for basic robot configuration. So we have that stored. We copied that from another server. We put it onto ours, or covered from another repo, put it onto our repo, and then our goal is to take it from that repo and put it onto our computer. And so that's what we're going to try and do here with our clone repository from the internet. We're going to click on here. I have a few already. I'm going to use this robotics one. Yeah, I think this one might be a public. Oh, it's a public template, which is fine. And so it's going to download this and load it onto our computer. And let's see. Oh, one thing I kind of skipped past on there is like as we go into the robotics thing here, this is where it's going to be stored on your computer. So for me, it's in Documents, GitHub, Robotics, which is really important because that's where the actual files are located on your computer. So as we move into this next step of opening into Android Studio, we need to find this location on our computer in order to open up the project into Android Studio. Okay, so into Android Studio, let's reference back to our OneNote to see kind of where we're at. Cloning, for you, like this might take a little bit of time because if your work is still cloning, if we're still cloning the repository, there might be a little bit of a delay before you can actually clone that. So let's kind of see while that's copying. I should really say copying would be a better word choice there. Oh, technically. Anyways, and then we're going to clone the computer. We did this, and now we need to import the Gradle program or import a Gradle project. So we're going to go into More Actions. We're going to go to Import Project, and then we need to find our download on our computer. So I think mine was in, it's probably in Users, Modin, and then I think we were in Documents. Yeah. And we're going to select this robotics thing, open it up, and we should start to load up. So it's going to take some minute. We're going to have to kind of allow access to some of these things. I had this issue, and I had this issue on another computer, and you might as well. I think GitHub Desktop is supposed to install Git already. Git is like the functionality, like the core functionality that's kind of like running all of this. So I think that we will need to install this. Let me kind of see if I can walk through the steps here. Like if you look on here, it's downloading a bunch of these things, like, well, not downloading, but it's importing the things from your computer into your project, kind of building a project. But I think we are going to need to do this one. Let's try and do download and install. I had some issues before, and we'll see if it kind of comes up. I don't know if that pops up for you. Popped a window. I don't know if you saw that, but it popped up like a Git for Windows thing. I had some problems getting this thing to install last time, and I had to go into some configuration stuff. So give me a minute. Let's pause this for a second, and we'll see if we have to go in and do the little more manual configuration. So somehow my Git ended up being installed. I think after this program loaded, it was able to like install Git. Maybe it was having some conflicts trying to install both at the same time. But now everything should be installed appropriately. All right, so what we're going to see in our Android Studio here, again, kind of maybe moving us over a little bit. We installed, so we imported a project, and now we add the location. And what we can do through here is look through there's basically two sections of this project. There's the FDC robot controller, which is all the pre-made templates that we can use, and then there's our actual code for ourselves. So if we go into here, FDC, Java, we can look through some samples of code that they've written. So for example, and I think this is what we used previously, at least during this semester, we pulled some code from here. Yeah, we got some private hardware, pushbot, all that stuff. And then we can actually do our stuff in the team code. So we go down to team code into Java. And then in here, we'll make our first file. We're going to make a really basic kind of do nothing file. Like that's not going to actually run anything. It's just going to be like a very basic, the bones of a code, bones of like a program. So we can see how GitHub is going to work here. So I'm going to add in my first file here. I'm going to do tank test. Oh, let me just remove this. So we're going to go in new, make a Java class. I'm going to call it like tank test just to get some basic stuff on here. We want to add these following codes to Git. Yes. And actually, honestly, that's enough right now. We can put some code in here to make it actually useful, but we can show GitHub how GitHub works with just this. You can, of course, like save your files and save them locally. But really the goal here is that we can create an online kind of storage system, and we're going to make like different like save points where, this is we made significant progress. Here's a save point, and we're going to post it up on GitHub. We can keep working with that same set of code, but we'll also have that same save point, that one save point to come back to later on if we need to. So into GitHub, we can see if we pop over to GitHub Desktop, we can see these are all changes that have been made to that file, to our current repository. So we just need to add in what is the title for this set of changes, like a quick summary of what you did, like add, let's say tank test. I added, a tank test file. And so these are all the things that have been changed. Some of these things are just related to like the Gradle building of the project. And then really this is our one thing that we actually changed. Android Studio did a lot of this other stuff, and we can hit commit. Okay, so this commit is creating like a local save on the computer inside of GitHub Desktop. And the last thing that we need to do is then take that save and send it up to actual GitHub itself. And so we use our push origin thing here. And you can see this is going to kind of start working, and it should have uploaded it to our GitHub page. And so if this is working appropriately, we should be able to go into our robotics or whatever the name of your repo was, go down into our team code, and I think I found it. It was in source main. Oh, we can actually see, if I go back one, we can see that this is like the most recent, this is the commit that caused this, that created this. So we can go into here, click on this, follow this tank test, and we can find this is the file that we uploaded most recently during this particular commit. So now our code is up there, and we can kind of create a connection between these two. What's posted online and what's saved on your computer.